Huh? Okay. Do you have any idea what is a mortar? What is a pestle? Pastor Fred is a chemist, pharmacist, understands. Yeah, you guys are in medical world. Remember in school, like maybe in science class, you had this porcelain bowl with the pestle, yeah, and you would crush and grind. That's a mortar and a pestle, right? All right, what's the word bray mean? What's that word bray mean? Anybody know? Verse 22. Though thou shouldest bray a fool. Grind, is it grind? Is it? I don't have the English, so you have it? What is it? The New King James? I have King James, it says bray. Yeah, that's okay. New King James is grind, okay. So here's the idea. Can you separate, one substance from another? A mortar and pestle, you grind it down, okay, and um, analyze the substance. You break it down into parts, and then you analyze it and see if you can separate one part from another. So a man who is a fool, can you get the foolishness out of him? Can you separate him from the foolishness? That's the meaning here. And the answer is no. It's possible that it will stay in him. It's part of his character, and you can't get it out of him. Like extracting a substance from another thing. They do that with metal by heat. They refine it chemically. How do they do it, Pastor Fred? How would you separate one substance from another? Okay. Okay. So there's a removal process where you add some chemical, and then that part you want to pull out will bind with that, make a salt, and then you can reverse that salt and get the thing out of the, you know. So there's a refining or like separation. So here's the meaning of the proverb: when somebody is a fool, how do you get that out of them, right? And I think that's the story of the human race. That man has sinned, and it's produced this foolishness in him. Let's make a short list of foolish things or foolish description of foolishness. Um, all right, so at your table, would you do that? Like give a description of what it means to be foolish. Okay. At this table, what did you come up with? Okay, fool says there is no God. Fool is wise in his own eyes. More than 7 men that can render a reason. Go ahead. Pride. Wisdom of this world is foolishness. Okay. Foolishness to God. All right, this table. Love of the world. Okay. Love of the world. Okay, Pastor Ramir. Gossip. Okay. Thinks too highly. Yeah, of himself. Quick to judge. Oh, that's a good one. All right, so we have behaviors and thoughts that are in the character of the person. And the proverb says it's even if you were to really work at it to extract it, you can't get it out of the person. Okay, so now we'll go to the next part of the talk today by turning to Mark chapter 6. And we see a story here that I think we're all familiar with, and it's about King Herod and what was happening to him in his heart and mind when it came to Jesus Christ. He had heard about Jesus Christ's miracles and was fascinated. And in his mind, he had the idea, this is John the Baptist has been raised from the dead. That he felt that Christ, who was doing the miracles, was John the Baptist raised from the dead. Then it explains the story of how John the Baptist died and how Herod was responsible for the death of John the Baptist. So here you have a king, a ruler, wealthy man, capable person, but he's foolish. And he did something foolish. He killed the man that he had actually respected. Yeah, but he killed him because under the pressure of the circumstances, he couldn't make a wise decision. So even if people a fool, even if he is corrected, he still can't get it. He still doesn't understand. So Herod is struggling in his life with regards to this whole thing that happened. Okay, so let's read chapter 6, verse 14. And King Herod heard of him, for his name was spread abroad, and he said, and that's Jesus, and John said, John the Baptist was risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him. Apparently his conscience bothered him that Christ working miracles was explained this way to him, to himself. Verse 15, others said that it is Elias. Others said it is a prophet, or is one of the prophets. But when Herod heard thereof, he said, it is John whom I beheaded. He is risen from the dead. For Herod himself had sent forth and laid hold upon John, bound him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife, for he had married her. So his brother has a wife, and I wonder how that worked. Like, they had met each other. His brother had this wife, this Herod, got to know her, fell in love with her, and he wanted her. He probably talked to his brother about it. Who knows how that whole thing developed and how it went down, How did that work, It was wrong. It was sinful. Herod did it anyway, because that's what kings could do. You can actually do what you wanted. And so John the Baptist had the law, and he had the Spirit of God, he had the mind of God, and he told Herod and Herodias, probably in public, he made it known that this was wrong. We are living in a world where there is a lot of foolishness that happens, but are you foolish? Like, no, we want to be wise. We live in a world where, a little girl says that she's a boy and all that kind of stuff. And you go, like the teacher in Virginia who said, my religion doesn't allow me to lie. I cannot lie. If a little girl is a girl, she's a girl. And medically, you can say it. You can say it very clearly. It is impossible, biologically, scientifically, it's impossible for a boy to be a girl or a girl. She will always, it's in their genetics if they are a boy or a girl. That's science, right? Isn't that funny? They talk about science and then they are lying about this. It's like so crazy. So Herod is fascinated by him. And actually it says that he liked him. Like he was interested in John the Baptist. So let's read verse 17. For Herod himself had sent forth and laid hold upon John and bound him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife, for he had married her. For John had said unto Herod, it is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife. Therefore Herodias had a quarrel against him and would have killed him, but she could not. So it looks like Herod is not as bad as his wife, as Herodias. She's more angry about John the Baptist and would kill him, but she can't. And Herod could kill him, but he's not killing him. But it says here, he feared John, verse 20. For Herod feared John, knowing that he was a just man and a holy, and observed him. So those are three words there I think that we should note. He said he's just, number one. He's holy, number two. And he observed him, number three. But is he foolish? Is Herod foolish? Yeah. You can't get the foolishness out of Herod. You cannot extract it. But he's going to stay this way. But he hasn't changed. But he is fascinated. He is observing. But he's not wise. It's not there. The wisdom isn't there in Herod. Because this is what should have happened. Well, let's read the story. It says, when a convenient day was come, that Herod on his birthday made a supper to his lords, high captains, and chief estates of Galilee. In some countries, when you have a birthday party, do you know who holds the birthday party? The person who has the birthday. But in our country, who has the birthday party for you? Like others do it. Your family does it for Pastor Fred. His friends do a birthday party for Pastor Fred. But in some countries, you do the birthday party for yourself and you invite your friends and people to come and celebrate your birthday. Okay, so this is what happened with him. Yeah, but parties are not always a good event. Like parties are sometimes where temptation increases. Parties are places where things are said that shouldn't be said, where people are there that shouldn't be there, where somebody is there that is going to cause some trouble. So, like, turn to your neighbor and you say, stop going to the parties. Knock it off. Dennis is over there. Look at him over there. Look at him over there. He's sitting over there. Dennis. He doesn't want to be with this group over here. Oh, there he comes. There he comes. Okay. Okay, you come on over. Dennis is joining the party. Amazing man of God, Gary Grunwald. Okay. All right, so, I mean, have you ever gone to a party and you kind of felt, okay, I'm not going to get in trouble. We're going to have a nice time. You go to a party and you end up getting in trouble. Come on. Confess. Admit it. I never thought this would have happened to me. I was careful, but, all right, so this is happening to Herod. Verse 22. When the daughter of the said Herodias came in and danced and pleased Herod, and them that sat with him, the king said unto the damsel, ask of me whatever you will, and I will give it you. Is that a foolish thing to do? I would say, like, that's, like, okay, whatever you want, just tell me. Whatever you want. And he sware unto her, whatever you shall ask of me, I will give it you unto the half of my kingdom. Now, have you ever made a promise unwisely, 24 hours later, think about it, and you just said, I make a mistake. I take it back. I take it back. I thought about it. I'm not going to do that. I misspoke. Have you ever done that? I take it back. Go ahead, ask at your table. Have you ever done that? I take it back. I give Bo $1,000. I give to Bo. Next day, I'm canceling that, Bo. I'm taking that back. Not going to happen. Pastor Fred, have you done it? About everything stupid I have done. Okay. Remember, Jesus said, let your yea be yea and your nay, nay, right? So we should be careful about, and in the heat of the moment, the foolish man makes a promise, which is like over and above. And he does it in the presence of his friends, who can say, you shouldn't take that back. You made a promise. You got to keep your promise. So what does the Bible say about keeping your promises? It says you do keep them to your own hurt, Psalm 15. But there's another teaching, and it's canceling a vow. It's canceling it. Anybody know where that is? Hey, this is where Bible reading comes in. This is amazing. I don't know anybody that it's written right there in the Bible, but can you cancel a vow? Can you cancel a vow? Come on. Very good. You know where it is written? It is. She's right. All right, so to the internet audience, Leah Ellis got it right. I mean, most of it. It's in Numbers chapter 30. But if her husband, verse 8, chapter 30, verse 8, but if her husband, let's go to verse okay, verse. Actually, I'm reading backwards, and it goes all. Verse 2. If a man vow a vow unto the Lord, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. Verse 3. If a woman also vow a vow and bind herself, okay, and her father hear her vow and her bond wherewith she has bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand. But if her father disallow her in the day that he hears it, not any of her vows or of her bonds wherewith she has bound her soul shall stand. Also, if her husband, when she has vowed, and he cancels it, he hears it, verse 7, and holds his peace, like he hears it, but he doesn't say anything, and it stands. But if her husband, verse 8, disallow her on the day that he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips, where she had bound her soul, and none. The Lord shall forgive her. But every vow of a widow, and so we have this teaching, Numbers 30. Here's one story that caught my attention with Bathsheba and Solomon. Remember when Bathsheba came into Solomon and said, I have a request. And Solomon said, whatever you ask, Mom. I put in there the mom part. Whatever you ask, And she made a request, and then he didn't. Okay. Do you know where I mean? Where is it? Huh? Yes, Abdonijab. You know where? Isn't it 1 Kings 2? David is dying. All right, is it around 20? 1 Kings 2, verse 19, verse 20. 1 Kings 2:20. I desire one small petition of thee, I pray thee, say me not. And the king said, ask on my mother, for I will not say nay unto you. I will not say nay unto you. Guess what he did? He said nay unto her. But he said, I will not say no to you. And then she made the request, and then he said, this is over. I'm going to kill that guy. That's his stepbrother, Adonijah. Remember? All right, so my point is Herod made a vow. Number one, it was unwise. Number two, he couldn't renege on it. He couldn't cancel it. But I want to say to you folks, number one, when you make a vow, use wisdom and you keep it. But if you make a foolish one, then cancel it. Like, why continue in my error? Like, I get out on the highway, I say I'm going to New York, and then I see a sign for Virginia. And I go, oh, I went the wrong way. Well, I'm just going to keep going. I guess I'm going to go to Florida instead of New York, okay? Or do I stop and turn around? When you do something wrong, when you're a fool, when we are foolish, but the fool can't get rid of his foolishness. He just continues in it. So he can't cancel the foolish vow, and so he goes and beheads John the Baptist because he can't change. That's why if I am foolish, I would like that to be brought to my attention. Humble myself, fear God. That's the beginning of wisdom. The fear of God is the beginning of it, and then start to build my life based on that. All right? So that's a good word for today, I believe. Yeah. I feel like repeating it, but why should I repeat it? You already heard it. Okay? I feel like repeating it for emphasis. But it's worth repeating. Let's go back to Mark 6, and we can maybe bring something else. It says, He sware unto her, verse 23, Whatever you will ask of me, I'll give it to you, to have my kingdom. She went forth, said unto her mother, What shall I ask? And she said, The head of John the Baptist. Now, that wasn't even on the map. That was off the grid. That was John. He wasn't prepared for that. What? The head of John the Baptist, so. Another point in the story is that the girl said, "I want the head immediately." Like, that's an interesting word. I want it now. Why? Because he might change his mind. Because if we go to sleep tonight and wake up in the morning, you realize what's going on, you might cancel it out. But I want the head now, immediately. Isn't that interesting? It's like the devil, he's a murderer. He sees his opportunity. He's dealing with a foolish man because the respect he had for John the Baptist is kind of like on the surface because it's not in his character. He doesn't have the character. He's a foolish king, and he's going to get in more trouble. So when he is dead, John the Baptist is dead, and he hears about Jesus, what does he say? When Herod hears about Jesus, what does John the Baptist say? He says, John has been raised from the dead. Why? Because of his conscience. It bothers him. So it's a great story. I'm happy that we're on the right side of things generally in life. We are honored by God to be walking with God and for God to help us understand things and live with Him and walk with Him. Okay. All right, so stop going to the parties. Go ahead, turn to your neighbor. Stop going to the parties. Pray for wisdom. Hang out with the right people. Anything that happens after midnight is not a good thing. Add the alcohol to the party. After 10 o'clock at night, nothing happens. Nothing good happens after 10 o'clock. No sleepovers. No alcohol at parties. The fear of God, wisdom, make our good decisions and be on the right side of things. And if you mess up, admit it and cancel your vow and go on and keep on doing the right thing. Okay, amen.